Keep an eye on D1ARugby.com, the place to go for highlights and scores and more. D1ARugby.com is the place to be. All right, so now we have that perspective on the poll and everything like that. Bringing Gift Egbelu. Gift enjoying some high-quality H2O, I imagine, today. Gift?
Yeah. You know, it was a good weekend. Shout out to LA7's Invitational. Great time, and Stars Rugby for having me come. And I felt like, you know, it's after having that California chill, you got to bring it back to this beautiful weather where there's no rain, no coldness happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, enjoy it all the way.
You got to hydrate. That's always important no matter where you are or what circumstance. The team that hydrated the best this weekend looked to be Navy. Gift, I mean, what a performance against Arkansas State after a pretty long layoff for Navy.
Look, you know, Don GiftTime King always loves to have a game that throws off some of the predictions because it only goes to prove a single point. That passion is what changes these games, and I got to give it up. You know, Navy was able to do their thing. Navy showed what they were truly about and why they are one of the top 3 teams in the Mid-South. And Arkansas State is still an up-and-coming and still trying to find their way. One of those games being the fact that they are still young. And Arkansas State still has a lot to learn. Navy showing up that home opener.
Yeah, Navy, you know, even looking at what they did in the fall, impressive. I mean, they only lost to Life and Lindenwood by 5, a try apiece. But Arkansas State still beat Life. I guess, is that a product of youth for Arkansas State, that they could maybe have a performance like that, but also lose a couple matches that maybe they should have looked better in?
So look, whenever you look at a game like that, you always need to at least have one of those. Whether it's upsets are just a component of the game, and Arkansas State was able to take advantage of what we had said at the beginning of the year, an apathetic, entitled, and a little bit too certain of itself Life University that just did not come out to play. The reality of the situation is Arkansas State still is a talented team, but it's a talented young team. There's a reason why I consider them to be Lindenwood light. Even though they play very similarly, there's still a lot of gap placed between them, and Navy was able to expose that in this game. We saw it in the fact of Navy coming out aggressive right out the bat, showing up when it came on defense and coming together almost in their line, and they still have their weaknesses within that. But the thing that kicked off the most for Navy was the fact that they had such aggressive offense. Their offloads were crisp. It was like a team that had been working hard to make sure that they were in sync with each other. They were able to take advantage of Arkansas State's inexperience, and they just kept Arkansas State on their toes constantly, back to back to back. In the area where Arkansas State had been able to dominate in the games against Life University and been able to find themselves still in it when it came to Lindenwood was in their forwards. And we already saw, one, it's already a young forward front 3 with a prop center, a prop hooker and strong side prop. But then on top of that, they lost one of the Ige brothers. Paul Ige wasn't playing in this game. He didn't play last week either. And I think that makes a very big difference to how quickly Arkansas State is able to get into the rucks and able to make moves into scrums. Navy was able to take advantage, and then as in typical Navy fashion, shown out in the forwards. Big plays, particularly by number 10, Lewis Gray, with a great pass about 13, 14 minutes into the game, and then big plays by Jermaine Oliver, who was a player that I pointed out to watch for Navy.
Yeah, you sure did. What really quickly, I mean, Lindenwood over Illinois, a dominating performance for Lindenwood for the most part. What stuck out for you?
The only thing that Lindenwood and Illinois game showed was that Lindenwood has a lot of depth. Contrary to popular belief, you know, it wasn't the starters that played in that Lindenwood game, and to see the outcome says a lot for that. You got to give credit to Illinois. They came out, they showed, and as they messaged me, they were very happy that Lindenwood was able to host them incredibly well and give them a good learning, and learning that they did. And I think the Illinois probably played the best team that they'll play all year. And I said it. I'm not saying outside of Indiana. It's including Indiana, including Ohio State, including Michigan State, teams that they lost to. This Lindenwood team is probably the best team they played. So I think when they go back to the Big Ten, it's going to be great for them. But outside of knowing that Lindenwood has depth, and I think it'll make a change for what happens for the playoffs, and I'll let my predictions on that one at the end of this, though it just shows that Lindenwood can bring it on multiple levels.
Yeah, Gift, stick around. We're going to bring you back later in the show as we look ahead to this weekend, all right? Don't go anywhere. Keep on drinking that water.
Hydrating.
Gift, the director of the HBCU Rugby Classic and Music Festival. It's March 27th through March 29th in Baton Rouge. For more information, head to hbcurugbyclassic.com. As I mentioned, Gift will return, looking ahead to Lindenwood and Arkansas State coming up this weekend. His perspective on one of the biggest games of the year. And we hit the throwback machine to February 8th. We were all so young back then, weren't we? Lindenwood beating Arkansas State 38-20 in a non-league Mid-South game. A match Lindenwood controlled for most of the afternoon. The rematch is this weekend, and this time with league implications on the line. So we bring back Gift now. Gift, how's the water? Have you finished it yet?
Never. You know, you got to enjoy it. You don't just quickly drink down the water. You sip and let it spread through the body. So the full awesomeness that's going to be brought from this heat I'm about to bring in gets understood.
We're learning so much about water today. I hope everyone enjoys it. So we've got a big rematch, Gift, seriously. Lindenwood, Arkansas State. Lindenwood had the advantage the first time around. What do you see happening this time?
Look, we talk about Arkansas State off of this last game against Navy and it being much more of a realistic game. And honestly, when it comes to them taking on Lindenwood, I still think that it's going to be, we're going to see something of similar action. Arkansas State, again, young, talented team, vastly inexperienced, still immature when it comes to being able to win games, and especially when people hit you in the mouth. That Life University game probably didn't help them for the future, but helped them know what they could have. And Lindenwood is about to bring it for this. I look at this as a 35-10 game, a little bit different because I don't think Lindenwood was as prepared for Arkansas State last time at the 38-20. Look for Lindenwood rested and able going into this.
Yeah, that's where I want to get to next. Navy, St. Mary's. We're going to hear from Alex in a second. More of the St. Mary's side. Obviously, he's been covering that for us all year. You've been looking and at the Mid-South all year for us, too. So maybe more from the Navy perspective, with this matchup, what do you see?
You know, I had a chance to be able to look at St. Mary's offense, and I think this is something that actually, once again, can work in Navy's favor, but I do not see the outcome being necessarily favorable towards Navy. The one thing that I was able to notice when you watch St. Mary's is not a dynamic team by any means. They're not particularly that fast. They're not particularly that powerful. They're not particularly that impactful. But what they do are consistencies. It's about driving down the field and wearing your team out, wearing your opponent out to get to the score. Navy works in a similar manner, but they are a dynamic backs team. They have great offensive off the edge. The issue that they always had was when it came to defense, they have guys that act too aggressively, and we saw this against Arkansas State this weekend. Navy tends to just jump the gun, and if Navy is jumping the players and not moving as a solid line as they jump the players, St. Mary's is going to be able to take advantage because those are holes and gaps that slowly drag down the team and they grind you out. It makes for a matchup complexity. They balance out well together. But Navy, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to get stronger in their defensive lines, or else, it's going to be a long day for them.
You have a prediction on this one, Gift?
You know, I put this one as it's still going to be a relatively close game, but I look at this as a 35-20 game in St. Mary's favor, especially because of the fact that it's at home.
Thank you so much, Gift. You can see Lindenwood taking on Arkansas State right here on FTF Next in 11 Sports this Saturday, March 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Should be a great one. Check it out on Saturday.